need that kind of study. We need it. And you have some that study in the privacies of their homes, but we need to be studying. We need to be analyzing our thought process because we're not thinking like African people.
Thank you.
We're really not. And I don't care about us doing events. That does not entertain me. The event, I'm tired of seeing us do events and nothing come out of that. I'm tired of it. It's sickening to me. Realistically speaking, it is sickening because it's entertainment.
That's right.
It becomes entertainment. We are event junkies. I believe Dr. Khalid Muhammad said that. Event junkies come out to an event, make me feel good for a couple hours, then I go home and I'm acting just like this Negro again.
Come on, brother.
Just like this Negro. You see the people who was hosting the event a week later, you act like you don't even know them. Don't have nothing good to say to them. What did you get out the event? We tight with our money. We're afraid to support one another. Nothing is like Pan-Afrikanism. That's not Pan-Afrikanism. How are you going to unify a body of people and you're not even trying to add on to the economic development of their people? Now think about that. Do some little thinking here. That's like your head. How could we unify if we are afraid to assist those amongst us with businesses to develop their business? We would never unify. And I don't care how many times we sit down and talk about it. It'll never happen until we are willing to sacrifice for one another.
That's right.
Until I can look at Bubba Durrell and tell him sincerely and honestly that I will sacrifice for his well-being and me and put money into whatever he's trying to develop. And don't be scared to do so. Because I know that my dollar in his hands is for my well-being.
That's right.
That's the African way.
That's right.
That's the African way. We got to understand it that way. My dollar in Kevin's hands is for my well-being. So I have no problem putting that dollar in his hand to do what he has to do. I have no problem with putting it in Haru's hand from Precise Science to do what he has to do because it's going to benefit me. It's what we must move towards. We must get to that point. We must fight against whatever it is inside of us that prevents us and prohibits us from doing it. Fight against it.
That's right.
Talk to somebody. Ask somebody. Why am I like this? Don't be afraid. Africans were not cowards. We don't descend from a coward people. Don't be afraid to speak what's on your mind. Don't be afraid to share with your brothers and sisters what you're feeling in terms of us collectively.
That's right.
We have to heal. The healing process is about us communicating together. We need to say why we don't want to help each other. We need to say why we're afraid to allow someone else to lead the way. We need to speak to these things. But we need, and we got to do it fast, to allow those amongst us most qualified in all areas to do what they do.
Yes, sir.
That's the one thing the old pastor understands very well. They will allow the most qualified amongst them to do what they do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're never getting away of their assassins when they come to assassinate us. You'll never hear them arguing like, I want to go, let him go. You just came with a scene. I've been doing this for this so long. You know what I'm saying? They sit back and they realize, you know what? You way a better sharpshooter than me. You can go pop his head. And they come get us. And that's why they're in power and we're not. Understand that. We need to know when to pass the torch. Such as myself. I'm on the forefront. I'm doing what I have to do with no problem. I do it selflessly with not a problem. Not a problem. The youngsters that's amongst us, we did the development, it's going to come a time when their ideas and concepts are going to be more clearer and more applicable for the time period that we are in. I must get out their way and become an advisor. Can't keep on trying to hold on to it. But youngster, I've been doing this for 15 years. That's foolishness.
Lifetime appointments.
That's foolishness. I'm going to do it until the time comes for some more beautiful ideas come along, some more clear ideas, some more energetic youth come along, and then you can have it. Now just slide to the side, and I'll just advise you from the side. Speak to you about my experience. Fill you in on some of the local history that you may not have seen. That's it. And that goes for us, because we're not doing that. We have to start doing that. And once we start doing it that way, I can assure you we'll start moving. Our pace will pick up rapidly when we start doing it that way. Communication. Pan-African communication. It's communication that centers around and on the advancement of African people. So our communication must be a communication that puts that first. So therefore, wherever we are, whatever we're talking about, as long as the advancement of African people stay at the forefront, we should be able to always come to a conclusion and a resolution. Always. There should never be a time when we can't reach a resolution. If we can't reach a resolution, I'll assure you the reason is because someone retains the gene of the enemy within them. I can assure you. Someone haven't purged the European thought process from their mind. That's why I said it here, Pan-Africanism is an African-centered worldview. What do you mean, Brother Imhotep? African-centered worldview. I don't mean get up in the morning to put on some African dogs and the ankh rings, ankh earrings, and wrap your head up. I'm not talking about that. That's superficial.
Come on.
That's superficial because I see a bunch of Negroes dressed like that. A lot of times, in a lot of places. I'm talking about a worldview that uses Africa as its reference point and its resource base. Right. You pull your resources from Africa. Right. You don't pull from Europe.
That's right.
You pull your model of manhood from Africa.
Come on, bro.
You pull your model of womanhood from Africa. You pull your model of relationship from Africa. Not no vain novel. Not the girlfriends. Not foolishness that's destroying us.
Come on.
Not Alice in Wonderland. The fantasies in Hollywood. You're looking at Ramses II in Nefertari, Akhenaten, and Nefertiti. Look at how they done what they done. How they struggled together. And we're not going to make it. They didn't have their problems. They had problems. You have to, if you're trying to take two entities, male, female, and forge them into one entity, that implies struggle. That implies struggle. But it does not mean that because you struggle a little bit in your attempts to forge this union, that is bad. And that's what kills us. And out here, we have been trained to believe that we shouldn't be struggle. We think that we shouldn't have no struggle at all. So when we do come to the point of struggle, we go off the haywire. So that's what I mean when I speak about being African-centered. Being able to look at the world through the cultural lens of your ancestors. And you analyze and interpret that world on the basis of such. That's what I'm talking about. When you sit down and you watch a movie for a little bit of entertainment, you're using your African cultural lens to decipher what you're looking at. Because you're being exposed to something. So therefore you must be protective. And if you don't have the proper lens on, you're not going to be protected. You're going to get the wrong images.